Hi, I'm in part 5. I know that I tend to speak a whole bunch of things all at once, but I eventually converge them into one argument in the end, so I hope you're with me. I was just talking now after digressing about how it is that people got into my former organization to become project managers or program managers. It was a very rigorous process, and I was using that analogy to help you understand, or that story, to metaphorize around why it is that it's helpless. It's not going to do anything for you to consult Disangoma, and how it becomes obvious in the end that something has been stolen over here anyway. So this chick, go listen to part 4 or whatever to get the context, please. She got into the job with barely any experience, and the most recent activity that she was engaged in prior to working for MTN was a sabbatical for 2 years. She was on sabbatical, just chilling leisurely. Husband was paying the bills and everything. She was like a stay-at-home wife or something, and her CV prior to that was whatever. If at all you're going to get another job in corporate, you're probably going to start again as an administrator. This girl came in and passed an interview that several graduates that had already done the time in the organization struggles to get. She passed an interview that one of the program coordinators, the job that I used to work, she was trying to get into this job because in and of herself she was shadowing a project manager. She was trying to grow. She was doing the time. She was, you know what I mean, when you really work hard on your career path to try and get promoted into a certain job. She had applied for that job. She didn't get it. This girl, Omusha, got the job, and this program coordinator girl knew, because when you're a program coordinator, you sometimes have access to people's CVs because you work for a boss that is interviewing people. You are your boss's administrator, and so you see when people eventually get the job, you know which CV this was and what was in it. She ended up really angry. She ended up icing her boss out. She passed her shade. When you don't even have any fear to give your boss attitude because you know your boss has done something strange. That's what this other coordinator was on some. How you gonna give her the job when, look at the gap in her CV where she was just sitting going to the Bahamas, and prior to that the work she did, when I've been grinding like a dog, shadowing project managers for years. I've been trying to knock on the door, and you told me that I'm not experienced enough yet, and then you hired this girl. Other people that were in other departments that wanted project management jobs anyway, in any department, who had tried to interview, were like, how did this girl get the job? Lo and behold, I told you guys that gossip, not good. Don't go out like that as a Christian, but it just so happened to land upon my ears as to how this chick got in. I had a colleague that I was close with that was close with some girl that worked at HR at MTN. The project management interview process involved human resources being in the interview alongside the boss and some other 2 or 3 people in the panel, and it was a 2-pronged process where first you come and you get interviewed, get shortlisted, then you do a case study, then upon passing that case study you get employed. You know what I mean? So it was quite rigorous, and it could take months for a person to come on the job. And the HR personnel in her particular interview process, at the end of it, the thing about the project management process is the recruitment. The boss, whoever would end up being the boss of this recruit, has the final say, has a veto say. Literally, she can disregard counsel or advice from the rest of the panel because it's your team and you know what you're trying to do with it. So, however, it weighs in significantly for you to take the counsel of the panel, the rest of the panel, including human resources. So basically, it is possible for a person to ignore the panel's decision if they feel very strongly about a candidate, even though everybody else did not like that candidate. That was how the process was. Well, my boss, the person, because she ended up being my team member, right? My teammate. Apparently, allegedly, according to human resources, who was the friend of my friend. I had a colleague that I was tight with, and she was tight with this HR chick. And this HR chick was like, girl, don't say anything I did not tell you. But you see that girl over there, first of all, the first interview, we all were like, no. She could barely speak. She couldn't answer any of the questions. And at the end of the interview, we imagined it was obvious that she's not coming in. We thought we shortlisted some other candidates, and it was obvious to us that nobody would want her. She was stumbling, stammering about, and she was unable to answer basic questions. So when she got invited to the case study, we were shocked. When your boss basically shortlisted her for the case study, we were shocked. Case study, it was worse even than the first interview, because a case study, you go in there blind, you don't know what in the world is going to get thrown at you. They give you a case study, and you are given an hour or two to prepare it, and then you have to present. And apparently the way she floundered even in the case study, humming and hooing and walking around, literally jumping around like a butterfly in the room. At that stage, everybody was like, of course, no duh, this girl is not getting anywhere. Of course, no duh, this woman is not moving anywhere. Ultimately, HR recommended one particular female alongside the rest of the panel. They all came into concert with each other that this is the best person. We really like this girl. It was down to this girl and some other guy, but the boss lady was like, I want that girl. Like literally the girl that was humming and hooing and stumbling around, like unable to catch a ball. Slippery butterfingers. Hi bunny, this was netball. My boss was like, no, I want to train her up. I want to bring her into my space. I like her. Something about her is, different. I kind of dig. And HR was like, alongside the rest of the panel, they were like, hi, veto power. I mean, you get to choose. All we do is recommend and suggest. If you feel like you want to train her up, then take her. And then she ended up working. Apparently, there was somebody who was a far better candidate than her, and she did not get the job. So Moyana Ona, the one that was eventually recruited as project manager, upset so many people, including the colleague that was my friend, including the program coordinator that wanted to get the promotion, including the graduates that had applied in. She literally started working at MTN with everybody not liking her at all. I, however, was a Christian, and so I was just like, whatever, new girl. We were born in the same year, so we could relate life experiences. We had similar personalities. We got really close. I was fresh. I was the one that trained her up because nobody else wanted to, because everybody was bitter about her recruitment. I was like, I'm not going to judge. I'm a child of God. Let's just move on. Couple of years down the line, same girl ended up putting so much witchcraft on me and my career, and she was one of the biggest reasons why I lost my job at MTN. She was one of the biggest reasons. She was a resource. I had gotten promoted to program manager. I was working on some program, and she was lazy. Everybody in the program was complaining against her. She had been escalated multiple times, and I tried to highlight that, look, if you don't get your act together, you're going to find yourself in some hot water. My new boss, at that stage, a new boss was now in play. My now boss took her side, even though historically he had communicated even in email form, so therefore there was a track record, something on paper that this person is lazy, I don't like her. Resources in other departments were complaining that this project manager, we ask her for things and nothing happens. Like she was just sitting, basically gathering dust. And so our relationship went sour because I was now a program manager, she was still a project manager, and she was not delivering on my program. And I had to, of course, crack my particular program whip. And when I was cracking it, she felt entitled on some, who are you exactly? You're just some person that I used to work with. You're not my boss. I'm like, oh my goodness. So that altercation, that it was a very cordial one. It wasn't like it was businessy. That business altercation that I had with this girl cost me my whole career because my boss overnight changed, just like that, and took her side despite all the wad of documentation that I had against this girl. HR took this girl's side. It was eerie. Let's go to part 5 or whatever.